Good morning guys and welcome back. So today I want to show you how to change the oil on a 2010 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited, also known as Betty White. Mine's got the 3.8 litre, it's pretty much the same for any car. The oil filter might be just in a slightly different position and the drain bolt might be a different size. That's pretty much it. It's really easy, really straightforward. So in a second I'll run you through all the stuff you will need to do the service on your Jeep. Then at the end of the video I'll just be going over a few things I've been doing on the Jeep just to tidy it up while I've got a few days of work over Easter. Now I know it's a weird time in the world right now, and a lot of people are out of work unfortunately, so servicing your own car is a great way to save money and also keep busy at the same time. Taking it to a dealership just for a service or just an oil change can be quite expensive. I'll run through price and everything like that of what I've spent on what we're doing today. It's really cheap, it's probably under, I think I spent under 50 bucks. On oil filter. Majority of people already have the other stuff in the garage if you've done servicing yourself. It's really straightforward and really easy. But just before we get started guys, don't forget to smash that like button. It's going to help with the channel in a massive way. So you want to tell YouTube that you like this video and you want to recommend it to other people. Also smash that subscribe button at the same time. It would really help us out at the same time. So the things we'll need. Now, it's really your preference of which brand of oil you want to go with. There's so many different types out there. I've been using the Chief Grand Cherokee. I've been using the Chief oil on my TJ for 3.5 years now. And I've had no issues with it. I think it's a great oil. It's on the cheaper side. Now you can go expensive, like $50 a container. This was actually on sale. This was the last container they had, so they've actually stopped making this. So we'll have to change to a different brand at some point. But this was $21 for 5 litres. I know you guys in America do quarts. So it takes 5.5 litres. So I've grabbed another litre. So I've got 6 litres. So I'll use half a litre of that. And I've got half litre left over for top-ups or whatever. Now, the manufacturer's book, or what I found online, has recommended using 5W20. Now when I went into Super Cheap Auto to buy 5W20 because I thought that's what I should be using, that's what the manufacturers recommend, they didn't have any, they didn't have anything at all. So I went back online and I went through a few different forums. Now a lot of people say they've had problems with like the tappets and their 3.8 litre and 3.6 litre burning oil. And they said as soon as they change from 5W20 to 10W30, which I've changed to now, I've got 10W30 now, semi-synthetic oil, their tappet problem went away and it stopped burning as much oil. So I don't have that problem in my Jeep. I don't know what oil they've used in the past. The guy has service books and all that sort of stuff, but it doesn't specify which kind of oil they've used. So I thought I'd give it a go. Now I don't have that tappet problem in my Jeep as I was saying before, but I thought people have had better luck with 10W30. I don't know why I can't speak. It's early on a Saturday morning guys. Have had better luck in their Jeeps with the 3.8 with the 10W30. So I'm changing that. A lot of people said that have changed that and it's been better for their motor. It's less noisy, it runs a bit smoother. Probably just is a little bit thicker oil, maybe the thinner oil is not good for those 3.8s, I don't know, but that's what the manufacturer recommended was the 5W20, which is a really thin grade oil, so we're changing it up a bit. So I've got 6 litre of that, I've got a replacement, just a wrapup filter. These are cheap, I think this was $10. So 30 bucks all up for the oil. So what you'll need to remove the drain plug is a ratchet. I'll let you guys know what size you'll need when I'm taking that off. And also one of these Who's and Meduzis. So it's a thingy-mabob that takes the old oil filter off. Really handy to have. Also, if you want to remove your fan in your TJ, this will work as well. You tighten it up and you can crack that fan bolt. You'll need a bucket to drain the old oil, a rag to clean up your mess because you'll be making one hell of a mess. Anybody that says they can do it cleanly, they can't. You make one hell of a mess. You need rags, you need towels, you need whatever you can. I forgot my gloves at work, so my hands are going to get filthy as. Then you'll need a funnel to pour in the new oil. Now, Chief actually makes a great If you can hear that sound, those are birds. I apologise for those. That's a kookaburra. But Chief actually makes a great bottle where that comes up. You pull that up. There's actually a funnel that comes up. So instead of trying to pour it from this small edge, you've actually got a funnel that you can bend back and forward, which is actually really handy. That's a great idea. So I'm actually quite disappointed that they won't stop making this oil and I won't be able to get it anymore. I might be able to buy it online. But let me know what you guys use in your Jeeps, what brand of oil and what grade of oil as well. Especially if you've got a 3.8 litre as well. But that's all the parts you'll need. Lucky for us, we've got Jeeps that are quite high off the ground, so we can just slide straight underneath them. You don't have to do any jacking up. So it might be a little bit hard to film. I'll try to film as much as I can underneath the Jeep. But yeah, let's jump underneath the Jeep and let's get this oil changed. Alright guys, it might be too hard to hear me, I'll try and turn up the sound a little bit. So, the sump is this part here. It's got a 13mm bolt on the end of it. Now whoever put this on last, whoever did the service, did it so tight I had to use a breaker bar just to crack that nut. Don't know who the hell did that, but try not to do these up too tight. You can end up stripping them and they're a pain in the ass to get out, and when you do get them out you might have to end up replacing your entire sump. So just be mindful, not too tight. So what you want to do is line up your bucket or whatever you've got to drain your old oil into. It's going to come out in a spout, so be mindful of where you have it and just go slowly. Now more than likely you will make a mess, so don't. So that's already loose, so you can do the rest by finger and it's going to come out. Keep going, keep going. And there's the old oil. Well, it's pretty dark. So we'll let that drain out and just be mindful of where that's sitting. As the sump gets lower in oil, that spout's going to move further back. And this is exactly why we keep a rag to clean anything up and any spillage we've got, because you will have spillage at some point. So now as that's draining out, let's move on and remove we'll let that drain first and then we can remove the oil filter. This should only take 10 or 15 minutes to drain out, if that. Won't take too long. So when that's drained, we'll take the oil filter off. Alright, that was an absolute pain in the ass to remove that oil filter. Now the oil filter had like I'll show it in a second after we take it off, but it had like a little dent in it. Maybe it's hit a rock or something like that. But that, compared to a TJ, that oil filter is a pain in the ass to take off. The only problem I found with the TJ filter is that it's right above the exhaust. So you've got to put a rag or something to stop that oil leaking onto your exhaust, just so it doesn't burn off and cause a fire. But let's have a look to see where that oil filter is in the JK. Now, it's a little bit dark down there, I do apologise. So if you can see it, it's just there. Now there's the axle there, there's a pulley there, and then there's the top control arm there. So what you have to do is try and squeeze this. It's easier. I tried the top and the bottom. It's easier if you go through the bottom and kind of just loop it over. It might be easier for two people, but I did get it with one, and pull that up tight. If you haven't done one before, all you got to do is loop that over the filter, pull that tight and use this end to create pressure on the filter, and you can crack it loose. Now it did take a bit. You do have to do it an inch by an inch because it keeps getting caught. I wonder if I can zoom in, but it keeps getting caught on that top control arm, and it's right above that axle there. I don't know if you guys can see that clearly or not. Try and get a light down there for you in a sec. There, I don't know if see what I mean. The axle there, and you got pulley on one side, you got the maybe a pump on the other side there, and then you've got the top control arm there. And it was an absolute pain in the ass to try and get off. I did get off, and as you can see down there, that's why we have a rag on hand. I made a bloody mess. So I've got that hand tight just to show you guys where it's located and how to take it off. So I do recommend going from the bottom. It is a lot easier. You can't get enough leverage from the top try and get that filter off. So I can take it off with one hand now. Oh, it is a bit of a pain in the ass. Probably took 10 minutes longer than it needed to, just because that control arm and that pulley is in the way, but it's not bad. If you're on quarantine, you got time, and there's some sort of satisfaction from doing. Oh, that was lucky. Yeah, I dropped it. So make sure it doesn't leak all over your car. It does on the garage. You can clean it up later. But let's have a look. So you've got the new filter there. Got the exact same one as a replacement. WZ418, WZ418. Perfect. Let me just wash my hands off and we'll come back. Alright, so we've just wiped down our hands because they get a bit dirty. Again, that's why we keep multiple rags on hand. Funny that. So as I was saying before, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's got a nice dent in there. Maybe a rock's jumped up and hit it. The oil filter itself, like, it looks like quite an old one, but the internals in there are still, they look quite good. But we've got our new filter here, and a little trick. Should have done this before I got oil all over it because it's going to make it a little bit harder. But what I do is I actually date when I put the oil filter on. I'm going to write it down in the service book anyway, but what I do is I actually date on the oil filter when I've done it, and the kilometers I've done it on. That way I don't forget. If I'm doing something else, I can look at the oil filter and be like, oh, I did that 5,000 k's ago, 2,000 k's ago, whatever it might be, instead of having to go through the books and do all that stuff. So I'll give this a quick clean down before we install it. Even if I don't show you guys, I always date the new filter and put the k's on it. So whatever the k's are, 162 kilometers or miles, whatever you want to do. But it's really handy to have because you might forget, but you might be in the engine bay doing something else, cleaning, whatever it might be, and you might just be like, oh, my Jeep's overdue for a service. So highly recommend doing that. So we'll pull that off, and what we do, the old oil that's actually in the Jeep wasn't actually too dirty. When I was checking it on the dipstick, it looked quite dirty, but the oil that I drained out and the oil that actually in the oil filter doesn't actually look that bad. It looks pretty clean. But what we'll do, good tip, if your car hasn't been running in a very long time and you're changing the oil, you can tip new oil actually into the filter itself, just to make sure that all the new oil is actually getting to the filter, and you're not going to have any issues. But what I do, just get your finger, might be your little finger, whatever. You can use the old oil or new oil, just get a fingertip and run it around that seal. And it's just going to create a nice little vacuum, not vacuum, it's going to create a nice little seal in there, and it's just going to make it a little bit more tight, and hopefully you don't get any leaks. So I put it around there, and I also put a little bit around the inside part of it as well, just so it threads on there a little bit nicer. Now I use the old oil, depending how bad it is. If it's really black and dark, I won't use it. You can use new oil if you want. You're only using like a fingertip worth, really easy. So rub it on. I also did it on the filter inside, like where you actually screw the new filter onto. I also do it on there as well, just to create a good seal. Sounds like someone's doing some yard work over there. Anyway, but if you guys got anything to add, any comments to add at any point, please let me know in the comments below. Or just let me know what you guys have been up to during the quarantine, what you guys have been working on with your Jeeps. As I said earlier, I'll be going over a few things I've been doing in the garage while I've been on quarantine. So that's all good to go. Let's put the new filter on, and then we can get to putting the new oil in. Tip: make sure before you put this on, you remember to put your sump plug back on. The first time I actually tried doing service, I actually left it out when they go put new oil in. I was like, that's a strange sound. There's dripping on the ground. What the hell is that? Hell, look, didn't put the drain plug back on. So make sure you guys do that. You don't have to do it tight straight away, but it's better to do it rather than later. And remember, don't do it too tight. Last thing you need is that cross-threading itself and never coming off again. One of my cars, second-hand car I bought, it was a Honda Prelude. Someone had cross-threaded that bolt on it. Couldn't get the thing off, so I had to buy a new stump. So that's all set to go. Let's put in the Jeep, start putting the new oil on it. Alright guys, welcome back. So I've just finished installing the new oil filter. As I said before, I've just done a ring of oil around the outside and just have a little bit of oil inside it just to help lubricate it and get that oil flowing a little bit better. So you're probably wondering, I've changed my shirt here. Some people think these videos happen within the time frame that you guys watch them, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it might be. Some videos it might take a couple of days, might take 5-6 hours, an entire day, depending on what it is. I've got a young baby, so I have to rush upstairs at a drop of a hat, and go do family stuff, which is always good. But I realised that my arms, I didn't actually realise, I thought my hands were dirty, but my arms were actually completely covered in grease and dirt. And when you've got a young baby trying to touch you, I think it's quite annoying. And we've got like a lot of white walls and doors upstairs, so they get really dirty really fast if you don't wash your hands. But as I was sticking my arms down into like the cracks and stuff my Jeep is pretty clean, as you guys have commented and seen in past videos, but there's still going to be dirt and grime everywhere you touch. So I just chucked in my work shirt and it makes a big difference with trying to keep clean. But it got me thinking, like, these ones aren't like the best looking ones or like most desirable to wear out because of the high vis and stuff. But it got me thinking, maybe I should do up some cheap Jeeper or 9-to-5 built work shirts. I might just do some for myself, but let me know if you guys might be interested in something like that. I don't know about price and stuff like that, but let me know if you guys are interested down in the comments. I wouldn't mind doing just some up for myself to work on the garage, and they're quite thin as well. Great for wheeling if you guys are getting muddy and stuff. You're not getting like your really nice fancy white clothes dirty. Then you can work on your Jeep on the weekends. And I don't think it look too bad. It keeps the sun off you as well, so you're not getting sunburnt. And you could probably wear like a polar fleece or something underneath in the cold weather. But let me know what you guys think below, if you'd be interested in something like that. But let's put the new oil in now. Super simple. I'm sure most of you guys have done it before. We're using 10W30 Chief. Like, this is quite cheap stuff, but I've used it on my TJ for years and it's worked quite well. So, as I said earlier in the video, it's got like a little nozzle on it. Most things like kind of cut off there, but you can actually, I thought that was longer. Maybe the older bottle was a bit longer. So I'll probably still use the funnel to tip it in, but most ones cut up there, and it's like, you always make a massive mess when you're pouring in new oil. So I'll just move you guys down here. Whoop. Zoom in a little bit. So if you're new to JK's, I'd recommend just pulling off this hose here that goes to the air intake. Don't forget to put it back on, just because it's going to get in the way a little bit. See, already dirty. So you got the engine. It actually says on the actual engine oil cap what it is. I don't think the TJ did that. It was just a universal cap. So it actually says SAE 5W20 and we're doing 10W30. So that's actually quite handy. Thank you Jeep for putting that on. So we'll go ahead and remove that. For some reason the TJ ones always break. I haven't done a video on how to fix that, but the TJ ones, I don't know if they're softer plastic or something, but they always break. So we've got our funnel. Like, these are cheap as to buy, guys. 20 cents or something. So we've got our 5-litre drum, and we'll just, ooh, look how clean that oil is. Alright, so that's all done. We've got the new oil in. So we'll come around to this side. We'll come around to this side and check. Now, before we start putting in any more oil, it's a good idea to check. and I don't know if you guys can see that. Oh, that's beautiful and clear. There's like a little marker. I'm sure a lot of you guys have done your own oil changes before, but there's a little marker on the dipstick to indicate the safe and not safe line, full line. So what I'll do, it says it's perfect at the moment, but it says it did show that it should be taking about 5.5 litres of oil. So I've just put in 5, and it's looking good on that. I'll leave it sit for about half an hour, then I'll come back, let that seal, make it its way to the oil filter and come back. Might take it for a drive later and see if that line changes at all. It's important to do that. Just don't think that it says it's okay now, but also importantly, make sure you guys are on a flat ground. I've seen a lot of people before do oil changes on an incline or decline, and then check the oil and they're like, oh yeah, it's perfect, or shit, I don't have enough oil. Then you end up not putting enough oil in, or overfilling it, and that can cause damage to your motor, as we all know. So make sure you guys are on a flat surface, take it for a drive, then recheck your oil again when the engine's cooled down, obviously. But that's pretty much it, guys. It's super easy. Sorry I didn't get a chance to film removing that oil filter. It's just a really tight spot. In the TJ there's a lot more room where the oil filter is positioned. It's kind of like on the side of the motor instead of at the front. It is a pain in the ass that it's above the exhaust on the TJ, and that's a pain in the ass that it's above the diff. And there's a bird inside the garage. It's weird. And next to that control arm and pulley. It's a bit tight, but you guys will get it. Just use that oil filter remover. That thing is so handy. And just little bits at a time, same with putting on. Also, so I've done it up. I've done the oil filter up. I did it up by hand, and I went along with that tool and did it up quite tight. It did feel firm. And same with the drain plug. But last thing you need is those things coming loose and draining all your oil out. So I will go over them later this afternoon to make sure those things are still tight. But super easy, guys. Yeah, it's actually a really simple job. I'm surprised more people don't do it at home, just general things. But same time as you do this, it's good to go over and see if there's any other leaks in the car, whether it's been gearbox, front diff, rear diff. When you're under there, just check any play in the control arms, anything like that. Maybe do a spanner check as well. But as I was going to say, I've done a few other things in the garage over this isolation period. These are the brackets for the side awning. They're looking a bit rusty, so I grabbed some wrapped liner, the same as what I did to the wheels, and just give them a quick sand and clean up. I'll probably go over these and give them a clean up, make sure they're looking nice. And I was a bit frustrated. The awning was sitting quite high, like it came in there then it went up. So I wanted to sit a bit closer. It sat pretty high and out from the car, out from the Jeep. So I wanted to change it. I'm going to drill a hole for the top, run it for the top, and have it coming down a bit lower. Just for ease purposes and also aerodynamics as well. Obviously something that sits high, it's going to hit the wind. I do get a bit of a whistle on the highway. But as I said, guys, these are really simple things to do in this time that you've got off. Super cheap as well. I've got the oil and filter through Super Cheap Auto. That cheap oil, I don't think they do it anymore, which is a bit disappointing. I think it's like 20 bucks for the 5 litre and $10 for the 1 litre. Really cheap stuff, and then $10 for the wrapup filter. Really cheap and easy process, and I mean, if you don't have to do other stuff in between, this could probably take you half an hour, 45 minutes, if that. But we went out, did some stuff around the house at the same time, got change obviously, so probably 4 hours, give or take. So I did everything first, then filled it up with oil. Then I'll just go everything and clean it up very soon. I won't bore you guys with that, you guys don't want to watch that. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've got any ideas for any future videos you'd like me to do, there's so many things to do on the Jeeps. I got to change up the headlights. These are the ones out of the TJ. I want to clean those up and put them in the JK. And when this quarantine's over, I just want to hit the trails, do some adventures, maybe meet up with you guys. But let me know about those shirts anyway. If you guys don't want any or don't think it's a good idea, I might just make some up for myself, or just keep these ones as my work shirts. But as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to smash that like button. It's going to help out the channel in a massive way. Allow us to grow, tell YouTube that you guys like the content and you want other people to see it as well. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button as well. We're slowly growing, which is awesome. It's not really about that, it's about bringing you guys good content that's useful and giving you some tips to save money on your Jeeps. But as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.